Centuries ago, the birth of a royal child was not a private moment of joy. It was a political event, the kind of news that shaped alliances, strengthened bloodlines, and calmed restless kingdoms. Each newborn prince or princess carried on their tiny shoulders the weight of dynasties. Their lives were mapped before they even opened their eyes. They were to become warriors, kings, queens, diplomats, or at the very least, respectable figures who could be married off to bind empires together. From the cradle, royal children were groomed as symbols of power. Tutors taught them languages and strategy, nannies molded their posture and manners. They were never simply children. They were heirs, future rulers, breathing embodiments of dynastic ambition. But what happened when a child was born different? What if their speech faltered, their steps wavered, or learning did not come easily? What if a child was not the image of perfection the throne demanded? To kings and queens, this was not a medical question. It was a scandal. And so, history quietly looked away. For centuries, royal children with disabilities, children who today we would know as having Down syndrome, were hidden, erased, or worse. They were treated as living threats to the myth of divine perfection upon which monarchies rested. What was seen as an innocent genetic variation today was once branded as a curse from God, a sign of weak blood, or an omen of political disaster. These children were not simply denied their rights, they were denied their very existence. Down syndrome is caused by an extra copy of chromosome 21. Most humans have 46 chromosomes, arranged in 23 pairs. But in this case, there is one additional copy, 47 instead of 46. That small difference reshapes both body and mind, leading to distinctive traits, almond-shaped eyes, a flatter facial profile, smaller ears, lower muscle tone, and sometimes health conditions such as congenital heart defects. In the past, these differences provoked fear. In the present, we understand them as part of human diversity. Today, science recognizes that people with Down syndrome can live full, meaningful lives. They study, work, compete, and create. They are teachers, athletes, actors, and entrepreneurs. Their lives are not defined by their condition, but enriched by it. Yet centuries ago, when the language of genetics was unknown, those same features were read as signs of divine anger or corrupted lineage. And in royal families, where image mattered more than reality, a child with such traits represented disaster. How could a dynasty claim to be chosen by God if its heirs were born imperfect? This obsession with perfection did not fade with time. Even in the 20th century, royal families preferred shame over honesty. Nerissa Boselian was born in 1919. Her sister Catherine followed in 1926. They were first cousins of Queen Elizabeth II, blood of Britain's most celebrated family. From an early age, it was clear that they had developmental disabilities. Some historians believe they may have had Down syndrome or a closely related condition. What did the family do? Did they surround them with love and care? Did they raise them with dignity? They sent them away to the Royal Ulswood Hospital, an institution for people with learning disabilities. Once there, Nerissa and Catherine ceased to exist in the eyes of the world. In fact, official family records went so far as to list them as deceased, erasing them from the royal lineage while they were still alive. On paper, they were corpses. In reality, they lived for decades in isolation, largely abandoned by their own blood. Nerissa died in 1986, Catherine in 2014. For most of their lives, they received almost no visits from relatives. Their secret was uncovered only in the 1980s, when journalists exposed the deception, a revelation that shocked the public and stained the monarchy's carefully polished image. Across Europe, another story unfolded. Princess Alexandrine of Prussia was born in 1915, the daughter of Crown Prince Wilhelm. She, too, was born with Down syndrome. Though at the time the condition had no widely accepted name, doctors and families used vague labels such as feeble-mindedness or weakness of constitution. Unlike the Boslian sisters, Alexandrine was not hidden away in an institution. She remained with her family, attended a special school, and appeared occasionally in family photographs and postcards. She was not erased, but she was never celebrated either. Her life was permitted but restricted. She was excluded from royal duties, absent from public appearances, and treated as a delicate secret. She lived quietly until her death in 1980, proof that even love could not overcome stigma. In 1928, Anne de Gaulle was born, the youngest daughter of Charles de Gaulle, the man who would become president of France, and had Down syndrome, and unlike many children of her time, she was not institutionalized. Her parents kept her at home, and Charles de Gaulle is said to have been deeply affectionate toward her. They shared a profound bond, and he was known for his tenderness toward her in private. But tenderness did not erase the silence. Anne rarely appeared in public, her condition was rarely acknowledged. Anne was especially fragile, facing many of the health challenges common in children with Down syndrome at the time. In 1948, at just 20 years old, she died of pneumonia, a common but deadly risk for children with weakened immunity at the time. Her death devastated the family. In her memory, her mother, Yvonne de Gaulle, founded a hospital for children with disabilities, a legacy born of love, but also of loss. These 20th century stories are recent enough to be documented, but they are just fragments of a larger pattern stretching back centuries. In medieval and early modern courts, records of children with disabilities are scarce not because they did not exist, but because they were deliberately erased. Some were sent to monasteries, where their lives would disappear into prayer and obscurity. Others were hidden on remote estates, far from curious courtiers and chroniclers. And some, the most tragic, were never allowed to survive infancy. Historians suspect that infants with severe disabilities were quietly killed at birth, a practice never openly recorded but whispered about in chronicles and revealed in suspicious gaps in dynastic genealogies. For monarchies obsessed with image, the choice was cruel but simple: hide the imperfection at any cost. This culture of erasure was not unique to one throne. It spanned Europe and beyond. To monarchies obsessed with divine perfection, admitting that a royal bloodline had produced a child with a disability was unthinkable. It threatened the very illusion of God's favor. And so, countless children were denied names, denied portraits, denied love. They were erased from histories, their faces absent from family trees, their laughter never recorded in ballads or chronicles. What remains today are fragments, whispers of children who disappeared, rumors of princes or princesses who were described only as delicate or sickly, gaps in succession where infants were declared dead within days, or never mentioned at all. Behind those whispers were real lives, silenced not by illness, but by shame. The world we live in today is radically different. People with Down syndrome attend school, pursue careers, marry, and build families. They inspire, they lead, they contribute. They are seen, valued, and loved openly for who they are. The lives of Nerissa and Catherine Boslian, Princess Alexandrine of Prussia, and Anne de Gaulle remind us of a time not so long ago when even the most privileged children could be erased for being different. By remembering them now, we restore a dignity that history once denied. Their stories are not just sad chapters in royal history, but lessons, warnings about the dangers of shame, the cruelty of secrecy, and the cost of valuing image over compassion. Because every child, no matter their ability, deserves to be seen, to be loved, and to have their story remembered. What do you think? Do these hidden stories deserve to be told more often rather than left in silence? Leave your thoughts in the comments, because your voice helps keep their memory alive. If this story moved you, like the video so that more people can discover it. And don't forget to subscribe for more dark and forbidden histories that reveal the truths palaces tried to erase.